Alright folks, today we have a Zhiyun gimbal comparison. The Crane 3S versus the Crane 3 Lab. What are the difference between these two gimbals and what are some of the upgrades you will get on the Crane 3S versus the Crane 3 Lab? So, let me take you along on this gimbal comparison and get into this video. Here we go. Before we start, I just want to say one thing, and that is thanks to all of you guys who subscribe to this channel. It is highly appreciated. So let's get into this tutorial. Here we go. Alright folks, the first thing we're going to take a look at is build quality of these two gimbals. Are there any difference? I would say no. They are both made of a mix of metal and plastic, and that is the standard Zhiyun way of making gimbals. So pretty even there. That leads me to the next thing, which is weight. The Crane 3S comes in at 3.2 kilos and the Crane 3 Lab comes in at 2.3 kilos, so a kilo lighter. What is the added weight? Yes, the added weight is the bigger, beefier and heavier motors, the overall bigger footprint of the gimbal, and the added extension and so on. So about a kilo more on the Crane 3S. That leads me to the price of these two gimbals. The Crane 3S sells for $739 and the Crane 3 Lab is currently on sale on Amazon for $559. That is a pretty good deal. So if you want the Crane 3 Lab, now is the time to get it. I will leave links for both of these in the description. You can go on Amazon and grab one of these two gimbals. But there is another option, and that is the Crane 3 SE. It sells for $649, and on the Crane 3 SE you won't get the handle with it. You will only get a standard handle. So that's a Crane 3 SE. So all the links are in the description. Let's move on to payload of these two gimbals. What can they carry? The Crane 3S can take an impressive 6.5 kilos and the Crane 3 Lab can take 4.5 kilos, which isn't bad as well. As a reference here, my fully loaded S1H with cage, handle, monitor easily goes onto the Crane 3S. There we go. So you can shoot with this gimbal, with this whole monstrosity on, with not a problem. But with that said, if I take off the screen and only have my S1H on a cage, the Crane 3 Lab easily handles that with not a problem. But with a 3 kilo setup, you can see with the Crane 3S, you have a lot more room to put a bigger camera on when it goes up to 6.5 kilos. So with that, the Crane 3S is definitely on the lead there. If you still can't decide which one you want to buy, here's some of the really interesting points and some of the upgrades that you will get on the Crane 3S that the Crane 3 Lab doesn't have. One of the great things that I really enjoy in the Crane 3S is the added buttons on the side. Now you do not need to use the handle anymore. All the things is controlled on here. On and off button, you can control the follow mode and so on. So you can actually take off the handle and shoot without it. That is something that I really like. On the Crane 3 Lab, you needed the buttons up here to change modes for some of the modes. Another thing they have changed is the locks. Now it's a 3-lock system where there's a tightening lock, then there's just the open lock where it just locks, and then there's fully open. On the Crane 3 Lab, you only have the normal 2-lock system, and I would say I have never had any problems with the locks of the Gimabl Lab. The Crane 3 Lab. I really think they are great on this one as well. One thing I don't like that they have changed from the Crane 3 Lab to the Crane 3S, that is the joystick down here. You cannot detach the little joystick. You could do that on the Crane 3 Lab right there. Then you can take this one off and shoot without it, because sometimes I accidentally bump into it and the gimbal moves in the direction that I do not want. Alright, then there is the most intuitive thing about this gimbal, and that is the added extension arm right here, which makes it possible to add the larger cameras, the cinema grade cameras, and this is one of the things that Zhiyun really have worked on, is to make that happen. So that is one of the big bonuses you get from this gimbal. Let me take a look at one of the things that really bothers me on this gimbal. As you can see on the Crane 3 Lab, I have this side handle. This is a gimbal gear, but you can also use Zhiyun's own handle. And it easily fits on my Crane 3 Lab with the quick release system on there. So it's easy to pack down, easy to take off, and yada yada yada. But why do I have this handle on? Let me show you. When I'm shooting with this system, and because of the way it's built, there's not a great way to hold it with two hands. Therefore I need an extra grip for extra control. But this is not possible on the Crane 3S as of now, but they will hopefully change it. If you want a side handle on the Crane 3S, let me show you why it's not possible. If you take the handle off, as you can see here in the button, it's a 3/8 screw hole, and it's a 3/8 screw here. On the quick release plates, it's a 1/4-20 screw. But yes, we can add an adapter, and that is fixed. But in the other end, we have a 1/4-20 screw as well, so these do not fit together, and as well as this one. But hopefully Zhiyun will change this with some new quick release plates that will fit to the Crane 3S. But if you already have the Crane 3S, there is a solution to this problem. You go on Amazon, you buy the quick release plate, and you buy these small adapters to make the quick release plate fit onto the Crane 3S, just like this. So that is the quick release plate. Then you buy the old Crane 3 Lab handle on Amazon, and then you can attach the quick release plate, and it is all happy days shooting with the Crane 3S. But as I said, Zhiyun will hopefully change that very soon. But for now, that is a good solution. I will link all the links in the description for Amazon, where you can find all the bits and pieces you need for this to work. Woof. So what else did Zhiyun give us on the Crane 3S? Yes, one very cool thing. They gave us a Manfrotto base plate with two extension rods directly on the base plate. That is one huge thing. And if you have the Crane 3 Lab, yes, you can use this on there as well. You see, it just slides on there with not a problem. So that is one of the really great things that you get from the Crane 3S. That is the new base plate. And as you can see on the old one for the Crane 3 Lab, it was this weird high base plate, which I really never liked. So it is great that they have changed that on the Crane 3S. Then we got a battery. How long will these last? Both of them will last 12 hours when shooting, so a lot of power in them as well. Alright, the last thing we have on the list is portability, travel friendliness, whatever you want to call it. I think this one goes to the Crane 3S because you can break it down to smaller section. You can take the handle off, you can take the legs off, and therefore you can put it in a backpack or wherever you want to store it. That was not possible on the Crane 3 Lab. You would always have this handle sticking out, which I found a bit annoying. So that is it. If you got any questions about the Crane 3S or the Crane 3 Lab, the Gimabl S, just shoot them down in the comments and I will answer as good as I can. Alright guys, if you want to see the Crane 3 Lab versus the Gimabl S, I will link the video here so you can go back and see that. And remember, if you're new here, it is highly appreciated if you consider subscribing. Hit the little bell so you'll get notified when I upload a new video. That's it. All I gotta say is stay creative and go out and shoot some dope videos. See you next time. Bye. Alright, let's do that thing with the retakes. There was a lot of retakes, so I'll do some retakes here, right? Yeah. Enjoy. See ya. What mode you were in when you were Chinese. No, English. Try again. I don't know what to say. What else? What else?